Welcome to Get Real with Eddie, where we delve deep into the world of real estate with your host, the designated managing broker of Exit Real Estate Specialist, Eddie Rudiger.
Good morning, Nancy. How are you doing?
I am well, thank you. I'm adjusting.
You're adjusting.
I'm adjusting.
That's good.
Seems to be an issue between seeing and getting back far enough to hit the mic here. So.
Yes, between the camera we got going on. Matter of fact, I wonder if I can just bring that up a little. There we go.
Okay.
We were like cutting off the top of your head for a second there. So really just your hair. You got a haircut. Nothing major. You know, we're good.
Okay.
So, I want to touch on last week. We just mentioned, hey, whatchamacallit was great on last Tuesday. But I really want to get into some of the stuff that we were talking to the elected officials on when we were down in Springfield on the bills and stuff that are out there.
Yes.
So, the first one is elimination of zoning bans on accessory dwellings. So this is to let and allow ADUs be on properties. I mean, and this is House Bill 1813, and this is kind of big because this inventory shortage is really coming into play in a lot of aspects.
Yes. We really have to address these shortages and really think outside the box a little bit, because it takes time to build and it takes space to build. So, but utilizing existing premises, they do a lot of this in California. So, utilizing carriage homes, garages, building, pool houses, that kind of stuff.
Even, I think, converting sheds are in there in some cases.
Yeah,
so
if you've got a big enough footprint.
Yeah, I mean, so, and these are all built to code. These are things built to code.
Yeah, we're not just talking about throwing a piece of tin on a cardboard box or anything here. We're, this is legit.
Yeah. Another bill that is kind of in the same realm is House Bill 1814, easing the density restrictions in local zoning codes to create the needed missing middle. And this is huge because you've got a lot of municipalities that, well, I only want to be a single family with, a half-acre lot, and you've got to have all brick.
Yeah.
And that's devastating to their community, because we've talked about it before in the past. And that is, okay, that's great. I see what you're trying to do and build that kind of community for it. But here's the problem. Your kids leave the community. When they come back from college, they can't afford to get into the community.
Yeah.
You don't have a middle housing. You don't have an opening housing type of stock.
Well, and it's not just starting out, it's downsizing too.
Yeah.
It's lifestyle changing.
Yeah.
Too. People decide they want to travel more and don't want to, take care of a big house. You've got to be able to have options for a community.
So if you're looking for this information, you can go to illinoisrealtors.org/advocacy/housing. All right, and check that all out. They write, local zoning ordinances can be used positively to bring effective order to layouts of town and cities. However, because zoning involves limiting the ways in which real property in certain areas can be used, which means it also, and unfortunately, a tool to promote segregation and further discrimination. It's estimated that in most major cities, zoning code bans multifamily housing, apartments, townhomes, and duplexes in over 70% of their residential areas. 70%.
Mm-hmm.
All right, don't get me wrong. I know most elected officials want to be a single family community, and there's a lot of, but you gotta have that middle to get people into your community.
Yeah.
Because they're going next door, they're setting up and they're planting roots, their kids are going to school there, and they're not moving back to you.
Right.
Not because, you can now afford to be here, so you should be here. That's not how it works.
It's just not. You lay down those roots, you invest your time, emotion, and money, you're not moving. People tend to get dug into a place, a community. They find community and their people in the schools, in the churches, community, out and about, and they're not likely to leave. Not without a big motivation.
Another one to help with the housing stock and trying to get more stock available is the House Bill 1959, bringing fairness and consistency to impact fees. All right? And IR writes, municipalities may apply inflated impact fees outside of the parameters of state law with no repercussions. Those affected are left with only a few choices, all of which are designated to discourage likely simply paying their higher than necessary fees. So the impact fees are designed to help school districts, because you have schools that have gotten, just all of a sudden you get a new community that comes in for a new developer, and that does tend to attract younger families and families with younger kids. And because of that, at one point, these units were going up so fast in the early 2000s, between 2001 and 2006, where the schools were getting overwhelmed at the time. They could not, because the problem is they didn't get the property tax until the year later. So the impact on the schools were rather harsh, because they had to provide education for these kids. So that's what the impact fees are supposed to offset, but they still are so high. And the fact of the matter is you're not seeing that many kids in some of these areas. You're not seeing the impacts as it was the same in 2001 to 2006. And some of them have raised their impact fees, and it's not just schools. I think there's some other municipalities that may get money. I'm not 100% sure. It's not my expertise. But it's just to encourage, it's supposed to be an offset to help the impact, not something to control. Now, here's my favorite bill.
All right.
You know what my favorite one is?
What's your favorite bill?
My favorite is Senate Bill 148. All right. The Illinois Home Buyer Savings Account Act. This is going to open up a savings account, all right? Mm-hmm. Individual families can save up to $25,000 and $50,000 respectively to put towards their down payment and closing costs. All right? It is a tax advantages for their savings. All right? This is going to help people saving dramatically.
Yeah, for their down payments.
And
yes.
Closing costs.
And closing.
Yes.
That's huge.
It's very, very huge. So,
especially when affordability has been such a big issue. It will really help get people where they need to be.
Yeah, it's really going to help the whole aspect of getting people into housing, being able to save a little bit easier for housing, because they'll be able to write some of that off on taxes. How and what, we don't know, because the bill's not all the way through yet. So, but that is a huge aspect and a huge thing.
Yeah.
But
again, it's an out-of-the-box helper tool.
So another one that I'm really big that we're looking at is House Bill 3110. Prohibit discriminatory crime-free housing ordinances statewide. And it sounds great on the surface. Oh, crime-free housing ordinance. The problem is crime-free housing ordinances require landlords to evict a tenant for even minor contact with any law enforcement. Okay, so if they called the ambulance because someone's having a heart attack and the police show up, Technically, they could get evicted. I know I'm going extreme cases, but that's because there's been extreme cases. If you have someone, now technically domestic abuse calls aren't supposed to go against them.
But
if it doesn't get registered as a domestic abuse call, it gets registered as something else that could get them evicted. And you are a 911 operator.
mm-hmm.
You and I both know they don't always get registered as a domestic abuse call.
Well, most of the time, if it's a clear call for service because of that, but sometimes they usually do change the type codes on them, I will say, 98%. But if somebody, because they're fearful, don't want to make it, call it in as something else, and this is part of what I'm worried about, is if they call it in as something else, let's say, I don't know, my cat's in a tree or something, and they want assistance, but they want to make sure it's minor, just to get the cops over there because there is a problem and they don't want to tip off that abuser, then it becomes a problem because now we're talking about officer safety.
Do you ever see the 911 calls? They'll get put on social media, and it is the victim who's being abused, and they're ordering a pizza. Yeah.
You know what? In all my years,
You never got one of those?
I never got that.
Yeah.
You normally,
And I'm not...
normally they're pretty straightforward. I've
Yeah.
gotten some wild ones, but normally they're fairly straightforward unless they do, and you can hear it in their voice. You're
yeah.
trained, you know.
Yeah.
Something is up with this call.
Yeah. Yeah.
But by making these types of ordinances, the point is that it makes that victim more of a victim because they're scared to call, and it compromises officer safety because they may not be willing to tell you really what's going on for fear that it's going to count against them.
Here's the other here's the other aspect I don't like, and this has been used. It has been used. Okay, so here's what. First off, Illinois Realtors has this written on their site. Again, you can go illinoisrealtors.org/advocacy/housing. Evidence has shown throughout the country that these laws are usually predicated on discriminatory motivates, or at least end up having discriminatory effects. Okay, but here's the thing: you are a renter, and you're doing your job. Everything's fine. Blah 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 blah. You're in your backyard, you're listening to your iPad on your powered speaker. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The neighbor doesn't like you because you're a renter, so they call the police.
Yeah, a loud music complaint, loud noise complaint.
Guess what? It's completely legal. It is not after curfew. You're allowed to have it. But they're going to still call the loud noise complaint and throw a fit.
Or, here's another one that's pretty common. You get a burn complaint. So somebody's using their fire pit
Legally.
Yep. Not causing a problem, but somebody in the neighborhood is an asthmatic and it calls to complain.
Yep.
And the officer goes over. Not that there's a citation, but it's a complaint.
Yep. And so now that's two. That's two encounters with police officers. One more. In a lot of these you've had 3 encounters with a police officer. Well, you know what? The landlord has to evict. Here's the problem. Here is the problem. They haven't done a single thing to cause the landlord to have grounds for an eviction.
Right.
So they can't go to the courthouse and say, well, the police say I have to evict. Here's what, and the judge won't evict. You've got a conflict with these rules and these regs.
Well,
and then the city's trying to fine, because you didn't evict, a tenant that's really not doing anything wrong.
Right. And you're putting the landlord themselves in a predicament and putting extra pressure on them. They have to now be judge and jury and evict these people under ridiculous pretense. So it just, yeah, I get it. Nobody wants crime. But the unintended consequences of laws like these, you have to really think about it.
I completely agree. There is so many unintended consequences, and that's 90% of what we were talking about when we were down in Springfield last Tuesday. It is talking about how these unintended consequences come into play. How you have good intentions, but those good intentions, don't always come into being good policy.
Right.
It just doesn't always work that way. And that's something you have to keep in mind is, okay, how do we get good policy? How could this, when you're passing a bill, how could this policy go wrong? How could this policy go bad? Those are the things you've got to think. I hate to say it, 5 steps ahead. I mean, honestly, you almost have to be 5 steps ahead to really understand where and what is going on.
Well, and you do, and it's hard because how is this policy going to affect everybody every day in real life? And that's a hard thing to predict. So that's why you can't just slam through just any old policy. You have to really consider what it's going to do.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. So, again, you can go to IllinoisRealtors.org and click on the advocacy tab. They've got all these aspects up there on what's going on. There is a Illinois Works to Enhance Housing Affordability and learn more. And you just click on that, and that gets you into the stuff that we were just talking about. One of the other ones that aren't on this page, they have a bill for rentals. They want to put more restrictions on rental property. That we're kind of against. There was some additional limiting of fees and stuff like that. One of the biggest things is a late fee could only be $10 per thousand. All right? So if you have a $2,000 rent and it's only a $20 late fee, it's only $20. Is that really going to entice someone to be paying on time that has a history of being late?
Well, and the cost to the landlord, because let's face it, the landlord's got to be the one to pay the mortgage. So what is their cost on when a renter is late?
Yeah, that's a valid point. What is their cost? Because the margins aren't like, everybody thinks landlords are just, twirling their beards and millionaires, Mr. Monopoly. And no, it's not.
It's mostly mom and pops,
Yeah.
that own a handful of properties.
Yeah, I completely agree. So it just something to keep in mind. Everything. So, how's Mokena sound? You want to do Mokena?
We haven't done Mokena in ages.
All right. So, median sales price on Mokena is $406,250. That's up 4.8% year over year, and it's kind of consistent. They're near their peak again on price. They peaked out, I'm going to say, November of 2023, actually, and the price is actually the sales price dropped. In November 2023, they're at $412,500. They dropped down to $385 on the median sales price. So now, with the close traffic,
this is all construction. Go to resale. I'm curious about that.
Resale. Let's look at the resale. Okay, let me get back into that median sales price. So median sales price is higher, and it's pretty consistent. So look
steady.
at that. A new construction. Somebody was selling.
That's what those peaks in there. That's why I was curious if it was a bunch of new construction coming in.
Because that there was a little bit of a drop.
Yeah.
In October of 2024, prices did go down, but on resale, it's been pretty much consistent. It looks like it's at its all-time high at $461,533. That's up 2.7%. So not a huge growth year over year, but still almost 3%, pretty consistent.
Yeah.
Not bad. So Looking at the closed volume, with that, closed volume is pretty much, I mean, it's up to 299 units in the last 12 months, which is pretty much been pretty consistently high. I mean, June of 2024 was 292 units at that time. You got a lot of 280s, 270s. I mean, we're going back, you were kind of back in the area for 299 as March of 2023. So, closings are moving up. They're up 5.3%.
Very, very gradually. We're squeaking them in there.
So, well, and I think that's going to go with the inventory. So market time is 36 days. That's down 10% on the average. On the median, it is 13 days, up 18.2%. All right. The listings to contract, listing days to contract is down 8.7% to 21 days on the average. On the median, it is up to 9 days. All right. To 12.5%, but it's 9 days. I mean, seriously. So what was it? April of last year, March, April, eight. It was 8 days. So month supply, which I think is a big indicator, is trending downward. It's down year over year 14.3%, but it was at 1.2 month supply, and it was back as of October 1.4. So the supply is limiting. You're starting to see things moving again. I mean, it was sitting at 1.4 months from October of last year, going all the way back to November for almost a year, that month supply. So it's starting to move down. There's no doubt about it. The trend line month over month is there, and the trend line year over year it's down 14.3% year over year. So
1.4% just is not by any means a stagnant market.
1.4 months.
Or I'm sorry, 1.4 month supply is by no means a stagnant market.
No, that's a market that's moving. That's a strong seller's market. But to see that in the last couple months start moving
again
downward, not up, and being down year over year, that's huge.
Yeah, that's big.
So, homes for sale are the units for sale are down 3.2% on the supply side year over year. Had a couple peaks that like 30 units. So the new listings are gradually ticking up. We're up 3.3% from last year to 413 units. Under contract is up 7.6% to 299 units in the last 12 months. So, I mean, you're seeing market's just showing positive movement in volume in everything that's going on. So, showings to contract, you're looking at 10 showings, no change on the median showings to contract. On the average, it's 15, no change there. And it's been pretty steady that way since October of last year. Showings per listing, you're at 8.2 showings per listing, and that is down 1.2. But I would make the argument that the showings per listing are down because we're seeing more increase in traffic. Mm-hmm. So, the increase in traffic and the increase in units, even though the showings to contract, but listings to contract is up. Listing contract days, and with month supply coming down, I would argue that's why you're seeing showings per listing down. You don't have as much time frame to get the showings in.
Yeah.
So
if you're going under contract, that eliminates some of the showings.
Well, and you look listings, showings to contract, it's pretty steady on the average, 15 showings to contract, 10 showings.
Yeah, very steady.
To contract. So, and then you look at your market time, that's where it's different. All right, your average market time is 36 days, so it's down 10%, where your median market time is up to 18.2% to 13 days. So I do think buyers are moving slower right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where buyers were jumping and running out the second they saw something. I think they're a little more comfortable in taking their time.
Yes.
So
Yes. They want to make sure they're doing the right thing. And again, I think it goes a lot to buyers are spending money. I mean, they're very conscientious about how much a home costs and what kind of debt they're going into, and they're a little more, they want to make sure it's the right one and the right fit and fills their needs. So I think they're going a little slower.
all right, let's hit a hard break because we are way overdue. So we're gonna take a break, and when we get back, we're gonna talk about the tale of two housing markets. Keep it here with Get Real with Eddie.
Welcome to the Lions Club. Being a lion means knowing that kindness matters. We believe in changing the world by serving the needs of our local communities. More than 1.4 million lions around the world are responding to local and global challenges with kindness and care. Come volunteer with us. Your Lions journey starts here. The Crest Hill Lions Club invites you to reach out to your local Lions Club to learn about how you can be a part of a community and bringing passionate, kind-hearted people together to serve local needs. They build relationships that lead to opportunities. In short, when lions serve, life improves, and the community grows. Grow with us. The Crest Hill Lions Club would also like to thank our sponsors who help with our yearly events, such as the car show and picnic at St. Joe's Park, and those who attend and support our Easter egg hunts, Shanahan Bingo, and many more events. The Crest Hill Lions Club meets the first and third Thursdays at 6:30 p.m. For more information on being a lion, go to lionsclub.org to start your journey today. That's lionsclub.org.
And Get Real with Eddie. I want to bring to your attention the Herbert Trackman Planetarium at Joliet Junior College. My son loves this. They offer free shows on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. It's perfect for stargazers. The show provides excellent astronomical instruction and entertainment for no charge. That's right, it is free on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. The planetarium features a 30-foot diameter dome, a new OmniStar digital planetarium projector. During the shows, you can enjoy sky tours using the projector and PowerPoint presentations covering a wide range of astronomical topics. For more information, please visit jjc.edu/planetarium. And for you educators out there, they are open for field trip bookings. So go to jjc.edu/planetarium.
Are you ready to make your next move in real estate? Look no further than Exit Real Estate Specialists, your innovative leader in the industry. At Exit, we're not just about transactions. We're about building relationships and fulfilling dreams. Step into a community of empathetic, well-trained professionals dedicated to your success. Our Exit Real Estate professionals are more than just agents. They're your trusted advisors and allies in the journey of buying, selling, or investing in real estate. Whether you're selling your home or searching for your next investment, trust Exit to provide an excellent experience from start to finish. Our commitment to putting people first means you receive personalized attention and support, ensuring your real estate goals are met with success. Call us today at 815-823-5478 or visit exitrealestatespecialist.com to learn more. Exit Real Estate Specialists, exceeding your expectations every step of the way.
Stocks may succeed, stocks may fail. Real estate is always there. It's Get Real with Eddie.
Nancy, would you like to hear a story?
Tell me a story.
It would have been funny if you would have said, "Tell me a story, Eddie."
Well, I was going there and then
All right.
Uncle Eddie, tell me a story.
A tale of two housing markets. So, you've got two things going on. Is what is a buyer's market versus a seller's market? Okay, and it's a tale of two markets, and knowing which one you're in makes a huge difference right now. All right, there are some markets in some areas, even in our area, where it is kind of a buyer's market.
And price point makes a difference too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If, let's be honest, if you're under 300,000 in our market,
it's hair on fire.
Yeah, your thing. So, buyer's market versus a seller's market. In a buyer's market, there are a lot of homes for sale and not as many people buying. With fewer buyers competing for those homes, that means they generally sit on the market longer. They may not sell for as much as they would in a seller's market. The buyers have more room to negotiate. Now, keep in mind, that doesn't mean the seller is going down in their equity. They're not like, they had 50,000 if they would have sold last year, and this year they only have 40,000. No, it's more like they have 50,000 last year. The year before they had 40,000, so that went up 10,000 in equity. But this year, they're only about 53,000 or 55,000 in equity, in an equity gain. So it doesn't mean that they're going negative in equity or losing equity. It's probably that they're not going up as fast.
Mm-hmm.
On the flip side, in a seller's market, there aren't enough homes for sale for the number of buyers who are trying to purchase them. Homes sell faster, sell often, get multiple offers, and prices shoot higher because buyers are willing to pay more to win the bid. Hands down. There's nothing there that needs more clarification. So,
well, and if you were to break down those numbers that we were looking at earlier, you might see, and we've talked about it before, like in our area, it seems like 4.25 is that sweet spot where everything under that price point, it goes super, super fast. And as it raises up, it's just a matter of just a few more days on market, just a little bit. Not the equity doesn't go up quite as fast. You're just seeing it.
So Zillow has a great housing market is out of balance national market heat index map. And this is showing where the neutral market, the seller's market, and the strong seller's market existed. And this goes back to January of 18. And you see the pretty much quarterly numbers is what you're looking at. You're looking at numbers that came out, actually it's monthly, but it's just the dates on the bottom are marked quarterly, it looks. And, you were neutral in 18, going into March of 19, it got to a seller's market. Then it went back neutral for the rest of 19. January 2020, you were in a seller's market. By the time we got to May, you were in a strong seller's market, and that took off to September. November, October, that was a seller's market. And then you went to a strong seller's market from November of 2020 all the way till May of 2022. I mean, strong seller's market. And then it came into a seller's market, went neutral in October, November of 2022. And there was a little bit of a stick there, I remember.
Yeah.
So, and then you went back to a strong seller's market, or a seller's market, which moved into a strong seller's market summer of 2023, back to just a normal seller's market, went neutral November-ish, December-ish, and then back to sellers. And it's kind of been a neutral market, according to Zillow, since July of 2024. It really, and I have to be honest, even though the data doesn't support it, the behavioral patterns have.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's interesting that they call a market with 1.3 months supply a neutral market. But
that's our market. That's
true.
Month supply. This is national data, and there's some
that's true.
out there. There's 9 states that have 4 or 5 months worth of inventory.
But I was going to say, even though that's the case, it does feel neutral. Even though there's, in our own market, 1.4 months supply, it almost feels neutral.
But here's the thing, and this is kind of like
it's all relative.
The last month they've got marked here is March of 2025, and they've marked that back to a seller's market. And in since about mid-March, it has gotten back into a seller's market. Mm-hmm. It has been very competitive. I just tried to set showings.
Very competitive.
All right. I tried to set showings for yesterday to go out and look yesterday, and we were setting them on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
All right. 6 properties. 4 got declined. All took offers.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Out of 6 properties, 4 of them got declined.
Yeah.
I got in on 2 yesterday.
I haven't been, I have a client who's looking for something very specific and 55 plus. So if anybody's thinking about selling in a 55 plus community, give me a call. anyway, they are, by the time we get in there, sorry, gone, or you can't get in, or we're back to that again. So.
And here's the thing, where is housing
challenge.
inventory growing the fastest? I found this chart be really, really exciting. So year over year, pre-pandemic, all right?
Mm-hmm.
So in looking at the data,
Thank you for making that
Nancy
sized.
yes, Nancy sized, absolutely. The Midwest, year over year, we are up 17.7% in inventory change. Pre-pandemic, between 2017 and 2019, we were down 45.2%.
Yeah, killer.
This is year over year as of March 2025. Northwest is up 11.3%, South is up 31.1%, and the West is up 40.3%. So we're not the lowest, where the Northeast is only up 11.3%, but we're also not the, up 40.3% like the West.
Yeah.
I mean, so, like I said, some of those states in the West and the South, those are the states that are really getting hit and really kind of running into issues when it comes to the real estate inventory aspects. And it is kind of a seller's market in some of those. So, all right. I have multiple buyers looking right now that one needs a first floor bedroom. They're looking southwest area, kind of like the south suburbs, Tinley Park, Mokena, areas like that. I still have a buyer that is looking for a ranch, probably 2,000 square feet or to 22 or even larger. Mm-hmm. One of the caveats is we need an oversized garage. We're looking for a 22-foot depth to 26-foot depth in the garage, preferably 3-car. So if you have a ranch that fits that and you're thinking of selling, let's have a conversation, because they're ready to move. They are ready, able, and prone to trying to get a ranch house right now. And you got somebody looking 55 and older, you said?
I do. I have 55 and older, preferably Caroline Lakes is her ideal place. So if you're thinking about moving out of the Caroline Lakes, please give me a call. Let's have that conversation. I also have another buyer who is interested in the Joliet area, looking for 3-bed, 2-bath with a basement. In the mid 300s. So again, if you're thinking about moving, conversation, give me a call. Let's chitty chat about it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, folks, there is a lack of inventory, and that's why we started the show talking about these bills that are down at the state capitol. We are hoping these things pass because we are hoping these actually generate, and it's not going to be an instant reaction, but we're in a good 4-year hole of lack of housing inventory that we need to try to start working out of right now. And I'm not kidding when I say about 4 years of lack of inventory.
Oh, yeah.
Month supply is 1.1 to 1.2 for most of our communities. This is a big, big aspect that needs to be addressed and needs to be focused on. So, I mean, definitely give us a call. You can reach me, 815-823-5478, or you can reach Nancy at
815-545-1162.
So let's just finish it off when we get back. What your house is worth might surprise you. Keep it here with Get Real with Eddie.
It's Eddie Rudiger from Exit Real Estate Specialists. And Get Real with Eddie. I want to bring to your attention the Herbert Trackman Planetarium at Joliet Junior College. My son loves this. They offer free shows on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. It's perfect for stargazers. The show provides excellent astronomical instruction and entertainment for no charge. That's right, it is free on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. The planetarium features a 30-foot diameter dome, a new OmniStar digital planetarium projector. During the shows, you can enjoy sky tours using the projector and PowerPoint presentations covering a wide range of astronomical topics. For more information, please visit jjc.edu/planetarium. And for you educators out there, they are open for field trip bookings. So go to jjc.edu/planetarium.
Lions Club. Being a lion means knowing that kindness matters. We believe in changing the world by serving the needs of our local communities. More than 1.4 million lions around the world are responding to local and global challenges with kindness and care. Come volunteer with us. Your Lions journey starts here. The Crest Hill Lions Club invites you to reach out to your local Lions Club to learn about how you can be a part of a community and bringing passionate, kind-hearted people together to serve local needs. They build relationships that lead to opportunities. In short, when lions serve, life improves, and the community grows. Grow with us. The Crest Hill Lions Club would also like to thank our sponsors who help with our yearly events, such as the car show and picnic at St. Joe's Park, and those who attend and support our Easter egg hunts, Shanahan Bingo, and many more events. The Crest Hill Lions Club meets the first and third Thursdays at 6:30 p.m. For more information on being a lion, go to lionsclub.org to start your journey today. That's lionsclub.org.
Are you ready to make your next move in real estate? Look no further than Exit Real Estate Specialists, your innovative leader in the industry. At Exit, we're not just about transactions. We're about building relationships and fulfilling dreams. Step into a community of empathetic, well-trained professionals dedicated to your success. Our Exit Real Estate professionals are more than just agents. They're your trusted advisors and allies in the journey of buying, selling, or investing in real estate. Whether you're selling your home or searching for your next investment, trust Exit to provide an excellent experience from start to finish. Our commitment to putting people first means you receive personalized attention and support, ensuring your real estate goals are met with success. Call us today at 815-823-5478 or visit exitrealestatespecialist.com to learn more. Exit Real Estate Specialists, exceeding your expectations every step of the way.
You made a smart move to get real with Eddie, helping you make your next smart move into your next home.
All right, let's talk about what your house may be worth. Okay?
Okay.
So, first off, what is home equity? This is the wealth you may not even realize you have coming in the form of home equity. Home equity is the difference between what you owe on your house and what your house is actually worth. Let's say it's worth $500,000 and you owe $200,000 left on your loan. That means your equity is $300,000. According to Correlated, formerly CoreLogic. CoreLogic changed their stuff. I didn't know that. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
That's interesting.
Can you?
I am going to.
Are you working on that?
I am working on sharing again. We lost
Okay.
our video connection for those.
Yeah, you're froze. You're frozen on my end.
Oh, I can't even. Okay, there we go. Let me know. Hopefully, I'll snap in.
There.
Okay.
Hello.
All right. So, is that collated right there?
That is
Do I need to enlarge it?
cotality. Cotality.
Cotality is what they're, I guess, the former CoreLogic.
Wow. When did that happen?
I don't know.
Cotality.
The average homeowner with a mortgage has about $311,000 in equity.
That's
all right.
pretty sweet. Yeah.
Yes. So the two reasons why they have this is, one, significant home price growth. According to the Federal Housing Finance Agency, FHFA, home prices have jumped by 57% nationwide over the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Number two, people are living in their homes longer. From the National Association of Realtors, shows the average homeowner stays in their home for about 10 years at this point. So
yeah,
from
back in the day, it wasn't very long.
Nope.
It's like 5 years.
1985 to 2008, you averaged was 6.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So before that, it was so in those years, we always said it was 7 years you're going to stay there.
Yeah.
All right, so you go back before the 80s or that you from the 60s and that they were still averaging 7. But since the Great Recession, since '08, it has climbed and it's now 9.25. It has been that long since the Great Recession. So, over the past decade, the typical homeowner has accumulated $201,600 in wealth solely from price appreciation.
That's crazy.
So your home should be worth more than you think. Are you getting your home value monthly, quarterly, yearly? We have a feature that sends out a home pulse with Exit and gives you what the value of the house is, and that does it monthly. Do you need to look at it monthly? Absolutely not. You don't need to. It's not going to change that significant month over month.
Yearly.
But yearly.
On your house anniversary.
Yeah, you should be checking your value of your property. You should know what your assets are worth.
Yeah, all your assets, whether you have, investments or whatever, you get a statement every year when you're doing taxes.
Yeah.
You should also get a statement once a year on your house
You get
and
a
what it's
statement.
worth.
You get a statement for your stocks once a month.
No, that's true.
So why not get a statement on the house once a month? I mean, it's not. You don't have to look at it. It's not that big of a deal, But
at least
still,
once a year, at least.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
At the very least.
So, and of course, we haven't talked about it, but what could you actually do with that equity? Well, of course, you could use it to help buy your next home, renovate your current house to better suit your lifestyle today, or start a new business.
Yeah.
And the last one that's not on the list that we always say, and that is pay for an education.
Yep.
I have no problems taking money out and putting it towards an education for someone.
Yes.
So, these are the features of what you can do with your home equity. Now, most people are using it in today's market to buy their next home.
Yes.
And so you have a lot of purchase power because of that. $311,000 is the average equity for the average person in the United States. So if you're rolling $311,000 into your next property,
That's a pretty good chunk of dough.
yes. So your payment, even though you're buying a larger house at a higher interest rate, at a higher price, may be a smaller house payment because the amortization of that payment is based on a lower amount because you're putting so much down.
Yes.
Because remember, your current house payment was based on a 30 years whenever you bought that house for whatever interest rate it was at. So it's possible to get yourself into a property and still have a lower payment and get more property.
Yeah.
You gotta talk to a professional.
Yes. Absolutely. Run the numbers. It doesn't hurt
No, doesn't.
to take a look at the numbers. You might be very surprised. Pleasantly so.
I would be. Even though I know I'm not moving. My wife says all the time I have to drag her dead body out of the house. She just loves our house.
Yeah.
She thinks it's the perfect thing. She loves our neighborhood, loves our school district. She loves everything.
Yeah. Well, you've got a cute house
Yeah.
in a great neighborhood.
Yeah.
Very well established, trees and everything. It's very pretty. Very picturesque.
I need new carpet. The carpet is so bad.
You know what you could do?
What?
Use some of that home equity
I could.
and
could.
get some carpet.
I could. So we're trying to hold off on the home equity though. I'm not ready to get new carpet because, the little man's still not at the kinetic sand phase. You know what kinetic sand is,
Oh,
don't you?
yeah. I have grandkids.
Yeah, that kinetic sand, that's worse than Play-Doh. I don't care what anybody says.
Oh, it's...
It's just...
yeah.
It just colors and stains everything.
For reasons why I'm happy we have wood floors.
Uh-huh.
That's
And it just, you can't get it out because it's kinetic sand. It is the worst invention ever.
Yeah.
Ever. I'm just saying.
They tried... The kinetic sand people tried to one up the Play-Doh people. basically what happened.
It's the only thing that was, it's my understanding, that was worse than this, and that was my generation, is if you remember the He-Man. One of the He-Man action figures had actual slime that came with it, and the slime, I guess, was really bad.
Just
really bad.
slime. I don't even know. Like the older grandkids,
Yeah.
and they had the slime.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, that's worse.
Yeah.
That's right up there with kinetic
I think
sand.
I can't remember what happened. I thought there was lawsuits with the He-Man and the slime.
I don't know, but there was
But
the
there was a
slime
huge
product
pull.
that was out.
Yeah.
What, 5-10 years ago,
Yeah.
maybe?
Yeah, so we're nowhere near ready to get the carpet because it's his house too, and I want him to enjoy it. You know, you're only little once. You really are only little once, and my son's imagination is seriously level 1,000. He'll be in there in the room playing whatever he's doing, whatever he's playing, and he's just talking to himself the whole time, rambling
Having a
on.
great time.
Oh, and having a great time. And it brings me back because I used to sit there and play with my little action figures when I was his age, and I'd be doing the same thing. But he doesn't do action figures. That's not his thing. You know, I'd have my He-Man, my G.I. Joe, my Transformers, my little Green Army Man. I had it all, and I could sit there in hours. Give that in a bathtub well, the Transformers didn't go into the bathtub, but the Green Army Men did.
I was
Oh,
going to say everybody had to have green Army Men.
And G.I. Joe, absolutely. So, all right, that wraps it up for Get Real with Eddie, folks. Don't forget, check us out online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with GetRealWithEddie.com, talking about your largest investment, your home.
Thanks for listening. Eddie Rudiger is the designated managing broker and owner of Exit Real Estate Specialists, located at 2750 Caton Farm Road, Joliet. License number 481014247. For questions, call Eddie at 815-823-5478.